to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. We just want to send our prayers, our solidarity, our revolutionary vibes to our brothers and sisters in Haiti. Is that how they pronounce it? Yeah, Haiti. After the earthquake that took place a few days ago, I actually saw it on this app that many of you should get called Quake Feed, and it kind of shows you when an earthquake happens around the world. Very good. I'm just free plug. They're not even paying me for that. But anyway, I'm not even here to report about what's happened in Haiti. I know you guys are following the story, and, mainstream media is loving it. They love a crisis. They love a disaster. But why is Haiti being targeted the way it is? It's a spiritual thing, beloveds. And I think many of us on the African continent actually don't realize that Haiti was the first free African republic. It was the first African nation that gained independence. They literally defeated Napoleon. They used some voodoo, beloveds. They used the spirit of the ancestors. They used the black power that we've been taught to fear and hate and put down. But they used that to liberate themselves. And, they suffered for it. Because I keep saying the enemy of our soul is very vengeful and they never forgive. And so, despite Haiti gaining independence, and they used to be named something like Saint Dominica or Saint Domingue, something like that. And they changed their name to Haiti. And seriously, just because they were able to defeat the white supremacy state and they kind of triggered what would later become a global revolution against white supremacy, they have suffered forever for it. And there's always been attacks. We saw what happened with HARP in 2010, beloveds, where over 200,000, of our African Haiti brothers and sisters perished. And everything that happened with the missing children. I mean, I really hope you've done your research. But why, beloveds? Why is there this constant onslaught? And then now, if we think about it, barely 2 months ago, the president or was it a month ago even, the president who was not down with the agenda was assassinated. And then now there's been another earthquake. Many were saying, it's going to be as bad as 2010, etc. Just, the media and the way the media tries to spin things. But I think it's very important for us to stand in solidarity as a global melanated people with Haiti. Because it was the first, beloveds. It set the example. It set the tone. It brought that spirit of revolution in. And many people don't know that, after defeating Napoleon and ending slavery and becoming an independent state for many, many years, Babylon wouldn't do business with them. Of course. I mean, what do you expect? For many, many years, Babylon wouldn't do, wouldn't do any kind of business with them. And before that, Haiti had actually been the richest French colony. And they provided the wealth that actually built and fueled the French Empire. And they provided 2/3 of the sugar and 3/4 of the coffee that Europe actually consumed. But the fact that a small island, as they like to say, and it's actually split between the Dominican Republic and Haiti. But a special people, beloveds, were able to defeat the mighty Napoleon. They were never allowed to. And I don't know why you think our enemies play fair. Like, it's something that I find extremely perplexing. You can't defeat your enemy and then want to go into his system. And that's where we failed. And that's why you have to realize that colonialism never ended. Otherwise, Africa would have entered its own system. The fact that in, like, I think 2016, the African Union actually refused to allow Haiti to become one of the members because of, it wasn't on the continent. They used some logistical things. Just shows you that Africans are not in control of the African Union. And they would never want such a connection to happen because we're spiritual and mental beings having this human experience. And so a revolution on the other side of the world by my African brothers and sisters can trigger something in me that will create a revolution. So I really believe that that's why they continuously put down IT and like bring woe and, it's heartbreaking, beloveds, because they were the first republic. And it's like there's such a fear from Babylon that the IT spirit will rise again, that they don't even want it. Even how they teach the story of how the devil, how the revolutionaries in IT made a deal with the devil to gain independence. No, they just use black power. And there's also something that many people didn't know is that Haiti actually had to pay. I'm looking for that figure. They had to pay a crazy amount to the French in order to be free. And they actually spent the whole of the 19th century paying that. And these are some of the reasons why now Haiti finds itself to be one of the poorest nations in the world. Yeah, I found it. Haiti actually only was able to enter the world arena by agreeing to pay 150 million gold francs to French landowners in compensation for their own freedom. Because part of the revolution was hundreds and hundreds of French farms were burnt down. And then a couple of years later, it is said that, the US actually came to Haiti and collected all the gold. And just, allegedly. But what's happening now, beloveds, you have to see it with a deeper eye. Don't look for the physical or the mainstream. When you see a country like Haiti making the news because of the president is assassinated, then there's tropical storms, then there's an earthquake. Go deeper and ask why. Go into the history. They can never allow the first republic, the first free African republic, to be free. So send your revolutionary vibes, vibes of healing and peace. I really do. I'm rooting for Haiti. What do you think? Do you think this was HARP? Let me know in the comments below. Tuko pamoja.